Good day, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I am Jared Duncan, and I am part of a group of experts, which includes myself and my fellow colleagues, Vanessa Duncan, Joel Gonzalez, Colonel Hamilton, Johan Duncan, Jairaj Samsundar, and Anton Noel. We are here today to talk about domestic violence. Our team will explore various aspects of this critical issue to raise awareness and encourage positive change. So, let's begin with a simple question. What is domestic violence? This will help guide our discussion today. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. So, domestic violence is defined as a pattern of abusive behavior used to gain or maintain power and control over another person in a relationship. And now we move on to signs of domestic violence. Domestic abuse, often referred as intimate partner violence or IPV, includes a variety of coercive actions such as verbal abuse. This involves purposely scarring, demeaning, or harming self-esteem through behaviors such as public humiliation, yelling, and calling of names. Physical abuse. This sort of abuse includes any unwanted physical contact or touch intended to harm or intimidate you, such as choking, kicking, or slapping. Emotional abuse. This entails any behavior that seeks to control, manipulate, or damage your sense of uniqueness and freedom. For instance, limiting your social interactions, isolating you from your loved ones, and blaming you for all the problems in the relationship. Pressuring or outright forcing you to participate in any unwanted sexual acts and even attempting to control your sexual experience is considered as sexual abuse. Some typical indicators of sexual abuse includes unwelcome touching or kissing, or even engaging in sexual acts while you're unable to say no, such as when you are asleep or intoxicated. Financial abuse. It's also abusive if your partner controls your access to money, prevents you from earning an income. Examples of financial abuse includes taking your wallet, money, debit, and or credit cards, selling your assets or property without your prior approval or consent, and dictating what you can and cannot buy with your earnings, thus limiting your financial freedom and independence. Domestic violence statistics. Domestic violence, which is a violation of human rights, is a grave issue that affects countless lives around the world. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 1 in 3 women worldwide, totaling around 736 million individuals, have experienced intimate partner violence, non-partner sexual violence, or both during their lifetime. This staggering figure accounts for approximately 30% of women aged 15 years and older globally. While these figures highlight the extent to which domestic violence impacts women worldwide, many men are also victims of this type of abuse. Approximately 1 in every 4 males globally has suffered intimate relationship and sexual violence at some point in their lives. Moving on to some local data, between March 2020 and March 2022, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service received 6,250 reports of domestic violence, predominantly intimate partner violence. Until September 2023, 75% of domestic violence reports made to the TTPS were from females, while the remaining 25% were from men. Domestic abuse victims are constantly forced into silence, facing endless cycles of abuse and humiliation within the confines of their own homes, all while pretending to be strong in public. But this silence is suffocating, it's crippling. It leads to underreporting and distorting the true extent of domestic violence. Thank you. I'll now pass you on to my comrade Joel Gonzalez, who will expand more on the subject at hand.
Thank you, Gerard. Outward signs of domestic violence. Outward signs of domestic violence can indeed be categorized into various types, including physical, emotional, behavioral changes, and controlling behavior. Physical signs are black eyes as depicted, bruises on arms, bursted lips, red or purple marks on neck, sprained wrist, and or any physical bodily signs that look not self-inflicted. Other outward signs of domestic violence can also be emotional signs of agitation, anxiety or constant apprehension, loss of interest in daily activities, developing a drug or alcohol problem, low self-esteem, seeming always fearful, talking about talking about or attempting suicide, extremely apologetic or meek. Another outward sign that a person could be experiencing domestic violence is behavioral changes. If you notice that a person who has once been outgoing, cheerful, and has gradually become quiet and withdrawn, it could be a sign of domestic violence. In addition to the changes in their behaviors, they become reserved and distant, begins isolating themselves, cancels appointments or meetings at the last minute, drops out of activities they would usually enjoy, exhibits excessive privacy, is often late to work and other appointments. Besides outward signs, I'll hand you over to my colleague Jairaj Samsundar, who will now take you through the symptoms of domestic violence.
Thank you, Joel. I will be dealing with symptoms of domestic violence. Symptoms of domestic violence. Some of these may include excuses for injuries, personality changes like low self esteem in someone who is always confident, constantly checking in with their partner, never having money on hand, overly worried about pleasing their partner, skipping out on work, school, or social outings for no clear reason, wearing clothes that don't fit the season, like long sleeves in summer to cover bruises. I now hand you over to Colonel.
Thank you, Jairaj. I now move on with potential causes and contributors. Potential causes and contributors. Domestic violence is a complex issue with various causes and contributors that can perpetuate the cycle of abuse within relationships. Some of these causes are history of abuse in the family, social and cultural norms. These are gender roles, stereotypes, and societal expectation that may reinforce notions of control and dominance, leading to an imbalance of power in the relationship. We also have substance of abuse. I now hand you over to Anton Noel to continue with potential causes and contributors.
Thank you, Colonel. I will now continue with potential causes and contributors, such as power and control dynamics. This is domestic violence is often rooted in issues of power and control. Additionally, we have financial stress. This economic hardship and financial instability can create tension and strain within a relationship, potentially leading to power struggles and conflicts, as well as mental health issues. Also, lack of effective communication skills, as well as unresolved conflicts. I will now hand you over to Vanessa, in which she will continue with resilience and coping with domestic violence in the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Anton. We will now move on to resilience and coping with domestic violence in the workplace. Firstly, we'll address what is resilience, what is coping, differences between the two, how do people cope with domestic violence, and strategies to build resilience in the workplace. Now, what is resilience? Resilience is defined as the ability or capacity to recover quickly from traumatic or difficult events in one's life. It's a type of psychological strength that helps you cope with stresses and hardships. Now, according to Bradford, resilience is marked by various characteristics. These include a sense of hope and trust, the ability to tolerate pain and distressing emotions, the ability to interpret distressing and traumatic events in a new light, a strong sense of control over one's destiny, and the ability to self reflect and have insight. Generally, people with resilience do not experience less distress, grief, or anxiety than other people do. Psychologists says that they are just better equipped to handle adversity and rebuild their lives after struggles by using healthy coping strategies. Now, there are many different types of resilience. However, according to our group research, we found that there were four main types. The first one is physical resilience, which refers to how the body deals with change and recovers from physical demands like illness and injuries. The second is mental resilience, the ability to adapt to change and uncertainty through mental strength, moving forward and being hopeful. Emotional resilience regulates emotions during times of stress, and social resilience, which is the ability of groups to recover from difficult situations. Moving on to coping. Now, coping refers to the conscious or unconscious skills or cognitive or behavioral strategies used to manage and reduce unpleasant emotions. Essentially, coping is how we deal with or overcome struggles and difficulties. It's a way people maintain their mental and emotional well being. In psychology, coping skills or coping strategies are a set of adaptive tools that we proactively administer to avoid burnout. Now, in case you're wondering what's the difference between resilience and coping, psychologists have determined that coping involves purposeful attempts to manage stress regardless of its effectiveness. And this response, coping response, can consist of direct actions or avoidance and can be adaptive or maladaptive. Whereas those who are resilient adapt to their adverse situations rather than simply manage or tolerate them. On the topic of domestic violence and its physical and mental effects, as we saw in the earlier slides, you may ask, how does one cope with domestic violence in life and more so in the workplace? Sadly, statistics have shown that many victims of domestic violence are unable to escape their abusers even while at work. Now, researchers found that there are many ways to cope with domestic violence. A few of them being denial, not accepting the fact that they're being abused, make it easier for them to deal with. They sometimes minimize exposure to their abuser by staying safe inside or sometimes staying safe outside. Ongoing communication, constantly reassuring themselves and or their children that things will be okay. They sometimes appease their abuser by submitting to their demands, using appeasing language, and adjusting their social contact and interactions. And they also foster independence by building financial independence. They research ways and methods to escape. Now, as was noted earlier, the fact is there are many people around us experiencing domestic abuse, even within our workplace. Now, considering the concept of resilience, these are some strategies that can be used to build resilience in the workplace. We can educate employees, create a safe environment, offer support services, promote awareness, training, that is so important for the supervisors and managers, promote self care and well being, and implement supportive policies within our work environment. So, this brings me to the end of my discussion. I'll now hand you over to Johan, who will now discuss the treatment plan.
Hi, my segment deals with treatment plan, and it is essential to remember that when developing a treatment plan for addressing domestic violence within a counseling context, it is essential to incorporate specific methods and interventions that are evidence-based and tailored to the individual's needs. Firstly, we use safety planning. Safety planning involves developing strategies to ensure the individual's safety is met at home. Remember, your safety is top priority, and clients should be reminded that people and resources are available to support you through this tough time. This will include figuring out how safe you are in your situation, creating a personalized plan with steps to stay safe, like where to go if you need to leave quickly and reach out for immediate help and support if you're in danger. Getting connected to places that can offer support, like shelters, legal help, and counseling. Understanding what domestic violence is, how it affects you, and what healthy relationships look like. Feeling confident in making decisions that keep you safe and taking care of yourself. Keeping in touch regularly to make sure your safety is working and to get ongoing support. Finally, teaming up with professionals like police, social workers, and legal experts to get the help that you need. Secondly, we look at incorporating cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT is a type of therapy that helps individuals identify and change negative thoughts, patterns, and behaviors. By working on your thoughts and actions, this plan aims to help you stop hurting others and build healthier relationships without violence. This plan involves several phases: recognizing bad thoughts, helping you see the negative thoughts that lead to hurting others, encouraging you to challenge and replace those negative thoughts with better ones, teaching you ways to deal with stress and anger without being violent, helping you see how your actions affect others and understanding their feelings, learning how to communicate your feelings and solve problems without violence, learning ways to manage your feelings and avoid reacting aggressively, getting support for your positive behavior and keep improving your relationships, and lastly, check on how you're doing and make changes as needed and get ongoing help to stay on track. We now focus on the plan of trauma. This trauma plan for domestic violence is like a toolbox which helps survivors deal with the emotional wounds caused by abuse. It includes strategies to keep them safe, understand their feelings, learn coping skills, build a support system, and work through their past experiences in a healthy way. By taking a holistic approach and addressing all aspects of their well being, this plan aims to empower survivors to heal and move forward with strength and resilience. Firstly, we start by making sure that you're safe and that you're safe from harm and have a secure place to be. Then, we try to figure out how bad the experiences affect you and what makes you upset. Get help to talk about your feelings and start feeling better should be the next phase. Learning ways to handle bad memories and feelings when they come up should also be included. Things such as starting to take care of yourself and feeling strong and more in charge of your life will eventually be displayed. Connecting with people who can help you and support you through tough times will also be an important factor included in the plan. And finally, the use of techniques to work through and heal from the tough times you've been through will be the final stage, and a stage which takes priority as well. And finally, the inclusion of mindfulness and relaxation techniques. help individuals manage stress, regulate emotions, and cultivate a sense of calm. And in wrapping up, recovering from domestic violence is tough, but by focusing on feeling stronger, setting goals, learning new skills, building a support system, setting boundaries, finding inspiration, and celebrating progress, survivors can take important steps forward. With determination, support, and belief in thyself, survivors can move past the pain of abuse and start a new chapter filled with strength, empowerment, and hope. Thank you.